the 7 stages of purification, I thought that I should have a handout prepared for you. And then, so we will cover as many stages of the 7 stages of purification as possible today. And then so that we can continue next Friday as well. And another thing is, I would like to give you a warning sign that the 7 stages of purification cannot be completed overnight. In most cases, it takes a whole lifetime. So there are different places where these 7 stages of purification are mentioned. But today I got it from the Ratha Vinita Sutra, Ratha Vinita. So there's a typo there. I will fix all the typos before I email it to you. So that Ratha is the chariot. Vinita is relay. Sutra on relay chariots. Create a mental, imagine 6 chariots, 7 horse-drawn chariots parked in a row, and all the horses are equally capable of running. So all the horses are well built, well trained, and they are equally capable of outrunning one another. They can very well outsmart one another. And then so are the chariots or the carriages that they are supposed to draw. And all these 7 horse-drawn chariots are parked in a row, but and they are not for a competition. They are not there for a competition. They are not there for a race. But they are there waiting until they are signaled to start moving or running. And then the first chariot, the first horse-drawn chariot, is the first stage of purification. And this relay chariots metaphor is analogy. This relay chariot analogy is, I find this analogy fascinating. Now, what is meant by this analogy is that even though all the horses drove in those heavy carriages, heavy chariots, are well built and very heavy, and then all the horses are capable of running faster than one another, and they are not going to do that. They are equally strong. They are equally trained. They are equally smart. But if they want, they can outrun anyone else. They can outrun one another. They can outsmart one another. They can start the race so that then they can run faster than anyone else. But the purpose is not a race. They remain parked there until their time comes to move and start running. So likewise, these 7 stages of purification are not to be practiced at the same time. You have to practice them in sequence. In the sequence, they are arranged. The sequence, as you know, there are 7. First one is purification of conduct, sila visuddhi. Number 2 is purification of mind, chitta visuddhi. Number 3 is purification of view, that is ditthi, visuddhi. And number 4 is purification by overcoming doubt, that is kankha vitarana visuddhi. And there's one A missing, no, it's not vitaran, it has to be vitarana. I will fix that typo. So kankha vitarana visuddhi, number 4. And number 5 is purification by knowledge and vision of what is path and what is non-path, which is in Pali, Magga Magga Jnana Dassana Visuddhi. And number 6 is purification by knowledge and vision of the course of practice. In Pali, it is Patipada Jnana Dassana Visuddhi. The number 7th, which is the last, is purification by knowledge and vision, which in Pali is Jnana Dassana Visuddhi. Now, some of you have asked me, let me go back to the first page. Some of you have asked me how to practice, where to practice, what to practice when it comes to the first step of practice. And then when it comes to Buddhist spiritual practice, and then you can get very confusing answers from different teachers, different kalyana mittas or friends, and then so that you get more complicated ideas when someone else says that Buddha's teaching is so that you can start from the beginning. You can start the practice of the Buddha's teaching from anywhere, at any point. Now, that's another piece of advice. But when it comes to the actual spiritual practice, there should be an actual alpha. Then you can go to omega, and you need to know the ABC of practice. What is the most initial step of practice? And then so this the 7 stages of purification gives you a clear-cut understanding of how to start the spiritual practice, what to start with first, and how long it will take. And so, by the way, the discussion is not between Buddha and his audience. It is based on a discussion between Venerable Sariputta, who is one of the 2 chief male disciples of the Buddha, and another monk, Venerable Punnamantani Putta. Sariputta was an arahant by the time this discussion occurred, while Punnamantani Putta was yet to attain his enlightenment. Now he was, and that's why in this sutra, in this Ratavinita Sutra, in this discourse on related chariots, Venerable Sariputta guides Venerable Punnamantani Putta. And once again, take it as a warning sign that do not skip these stages, because you need to practice the first stage. In certain cases, it will take the whole lifetime, but that doesn't mean that you are not supposed to try so that the higher steps, higher stages. For example, when you practice, when you are on the first stage, meaning purification of conduct, sila, and then there's no way for you to become perfectly moral, perfectly ethical. There's no way to see that your sila or your moral conduct is perfect. And then, so when you go through this, brief descriptions for each stage of purification, and you will get a fair idea, comprehensive understanding of what needs to be practiced in order to complete the these steps of purification. And before I start the discussion, now in Buddhism being a humanistic faith, a humanistic teaching, everything is internalized. Probably you heard in one of our previous discussions that the spiritual practice and the path to salvation or nirvana has no connection whatsoever with the cosmic reality like God or Brahman. Everything in Buddhist practice is internalized. Even the highest goal of spiritual practice in Buddhism, which is nirvana, is part of a cognitive process. In theistic religions or in God-centered religions or theocentric religions, salvation is a cosmic process. You came from Brahman or God or the Creator created you, and so that you are now one, and then you got life infused into your body, and so that you feel living, and one day you will go back to the Creator. That's the basic idea of creation. Whereas when it comes to Buddhist practice, in Buddhism you don't believe in creation. Of course, you believe in the existence of different gods, different deities, angels, good spirits like devas or brahmas, but they are not attributed the power of creation. They are not seen as being able to create the world or the being. So they are not creators. They are no different than us, except that their body is different, their life is different, their life form is different, the world they live is indifferent. In general, they have an astral transparent body, whereas our body is dense atomic body. Our physical body is very heavy. Now, so that everything is a cognitive process. The highest shift, nirvana is the highest shift in our cognition, in our cognitive process. Whereas according to theistic religions, going back to the Brahman, going back to God, is the highest shift in their cosmic journey. In Buddhism, it is an inner journey, not a cosmic journey. In Buddhism, it is a cognitive journey, not a cosmic journey. It is within, everything is within. Now, and then once again, I would like to say, do not study this handout for take few weeks to study this when I email it to you. And don't skip stages. And then I know some of my friends, so that they have prematurely tried to achieve these different stages of purification, and they fail. And then as we continue, by the way, the handout was supposed to have 11 pages, 11 to 12 pages, and then I reduced it to 2 pages, and I only furnished the critical terminology that you need to know. Otherwise, it would have been around 12 pages long. So let's look at the first level of purification. Now, what is purification? Purification is essentially mental purification. It is our inner world. It is our mind that is purified. Because enlightenment is all about our mind. Buddhahood is all about our mind. It's nothing to do with our physical body. And then what we get enlightened, what and how we get enlightened is we get our mind enlightened. And we achieve our mind enlightenment within our mind. So it has nothing to do with the external world or the cosmos or the universe. So purification is an internal process. Now let's look at the first one. So the sila visuddhi. So when it comes to sila visuddhi, the purification of conduct, meaning that this is the very first stage. Now, and you know, even animals have some rituals. When a dog goes to sleep and it marks its territorial boundaries on a doormat or wherever, maybe on its bed, wherever it goes to sleep, and it's a little ritual. When a crow finds some food, it invites all its fellows to come and share. And even animals have some ritual. They also have this instinct-based. Animals also have instinct-based rituals. Instinct-based moral conduct. Animals also are ethical and moral to a certain extent. It's based on their instincts. Whereas when the way we behave ourselves is way different than the animals do. Animals, again, their behavior is based on their instincts. Our behavior is based on our reasoning. Now, scientifically, human being is also an animal, but we are the only kind of animal that are able to reason out. So our behavior is based on reasoning, unlike animals whose behavior is based on genetically inherited and environmentally modified instincts, such as domestication. So, and then there's no point reading lots of sutras and gathering knowledge unless you practice some sila or some morality. That is all about the first stage of purification. Purification of conduct in terms of morality or ethics. Now, in Buddhism, you come across a list of daily precepts, 5 precepts. And then, so I know most people find it difficult to practice 5 precepts. I always personally recommend that people try 1 or 2 precepts at a time. And lots of people have called me, and then weeks or months later, they called me back, or they met me in person and told that they were now motivated to try more precepts. You know, traditionally, you observe all the 5 precepts at the same time and you go through the formula. You read out, you chant the formula by yourself, or you repeat it after a teacher or a monk or a nun or someone else, or you do that in a group. But that's how you because you have some of you have even memorized the 5 precepts, and you consider the 5 precepts as a set, one single set of moral precepts. But that doesn't mean that you are able to practice all the 5 at the same time. I would always personally recommend, first choose your signature precept. Signature, you know, that's how you call it in the West, right? Your most favorite one. Choose your favorite precept out of the 5 precepts, and then try it for some time. And then until you get motivated and happy that you could make it. Now, that is the proof that you are now progressing through the first stage, that is the purification of conduct. And there's no one is able to become totally morally purified, or totally morally or ethically purified, because life is such that when we stop doing one bad things, we happen to do another million things at the next moment. And at times we are bound by duty, bound by, I would say, rules and regulations and obligations. In your profession is such that you have to promote certain stuff. Probably you are doing a marketing promotion job, and you need to promote a certain product, and as a result, you have to use a tricky language. And then those insurance and those insurance underwriters see the fine print that you come across a credit card application, and they are purposely, the fine print is purposely print almost invisible, so that the applicant, the credit card applicant, may easily discourage himself or herself to go through all the conditions. So it is a trick. So that's a lie, actually. So given the kind of job that you do, given the kind of profession you do, given the social, given the need for survival, people tend to behave themselves unethically. And so then, and Buddha knew that. Don't expect don't expect a person with perfect moral conduct or perfect ethical conduct out of yourself. There's no such thing. And don't discourage yourself that you are unable to practice a bunch of sila or the precepts at the same time. First, choose your most favorite one, and you can even call it your signature precept. For example, you could say, okay, you never lie. That is your precept. Or you say you never take alcoholic drugs. That's your precept. Or you could say, okay, I never steal. I never commit theft. I don't steal from others. That's my precept. Or you could say, I don't destroy life. That's my precept. Or I don't commit fornicate. I don't commit adultery. So that's my precept. And then choose one of them. So that is the 5 precepts, actually. So you need to practice a minimum of 1 precept in your day-to-day life in order for you to progress through the first stage of purification. And successful practice of 1 precept would motivate you to try another precept. And then, so now you can do, when you find it difficult to practice sila visuddhi or purification of conduct, when you find it difficult to practice this first stage on a continual and regular basis, on daily basis, at least do what is called the periodic practice, meaning you choose a certain time period, weekly or monthly basis, and then practice that precept for some time, maybe for 48 hours or so, and so that slowly extend the period, the time, beyond whatever that time period that you have chosen at the first level, at the first step. And then you can slowly extend the time. And then also, you can have a better understanding of the first stage of purification or sila visuddhi in terms of 3 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. And then they are right speech, samma vacha, and right action, samma kammanta, and right livelihood, samma ajiva. And these are the 3 factors. These are the 3 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path that you as practitioners must focus on. And now you get the technique, right? You choose your favorite precept, and then you try to practice it at the same time. Just study Noble Eightfold Path and focus only on 3 factors, not the entire not the entire 8 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. The focus must be on right speech, samma vacha, and then be mindful when you speak, and then so that slip of a word can offend someone very easily, can lead to the assassination of someone else's character. So that's why Buddha says that words are like a double-edged sword. And so while as you cut someone else, at the same time you may cut yourself as well. And then so words can easily cause collateral damage, even though you feel like you are only cause damage to your opponent. But always bad words, wrong speech leads to collateral damage. Why? Because it when you insult someone, offend someone, at the same time you downgrade yourself as well morally. That's about the right speech, sammavāca. And the second factor that you need to focus on as a practitioner of the first stage of purification is right action, that is samma kammanta. It's based on what you do. So that at this point, people have to commit again. So that some people, and Buddha talks about forbidden trades. So that when it comes to industry, sometimes people sell. Not say slavery. Slavery doesn't occur in most countries nowadays, like trading slaves, trading poisons, and then like nuclear weapons, and so on and so forth. And there are different kinds of illegal and immoral trades that Buddha talks about. And then I have come up with someone who is in arms trade. And then years ago I met him, and he told me, he's from Europe. He told me that for sure, he told me that every time he sold certain, and he was in illegal arms trade, he knew that the arms that he sold would destroy someone else's life somewhere in the world. But later he was very guilty, and later on he quit that job, and then he found another job. When it comes to ardent spiritual practice, you may need to make certain adjustments to your lifestyle, your livelihood. That is the third one, right livelihood. So these are the three. Maybe in the future we can have discussions at length on these 7 stages of purification. Today I simply I need to give you some fair comprehensive understanding of these 7 stages of purification. And so once again, so those who are starting or those who are practicing the first stage of purification, those who are on the first stage of the progressive spirituality, that's the term, progressive spiritual practice or progressive spirituality. So the first stage is the purification of conduct. Now let's look at the second one, chitta visuddhi, purification of mind. So this stage is completed by the practice of the 2 levels of mental cultivation or bhavana or meditation. As you know, there are samatha or calm meditation, and second one is vipassana, insight meditation. So as a practitioner, when you progress along the path as a practitioner, you need to suppress. You need to learn how to suppress the 5 negative factors. They are called pancha nivarana. And once again, don't worry about the terminology, and then I will email it to you. So, and you know my mobile number, right? And some of you have already been in contact with me on WhatsApp. It's the safer way is to contact me on WhatsApp or maybe email as well, so that I can send you this handout. So second one, so when it comes to the second stage of purification is meditation. Now, once again, I would like to say, even though I said all these 7 stages are to be practiced in sequence, and don't wait too long on the first stage, that is purification of conduct stage, Sila Visuddhi stage. And then, as I said again, going back to the first one, if you wait until you have completed, tried all the precepts, and there's no such thing that you are morally or ethically perfect, that your behavior is morally or ethically perfect. That's why start with the easiest precept, and don't try too many precepts at a time. And then so that given the motivation to move forward, and then you may try to practice the second one, that is Chitta Visuddhi. And you know what? I know you are already doing that. So before you sit in meditation, remember you observe 5 precepts. Why? Even if you happen to break those precepts right after meditation, as long as you sit in meditation, you don't feel guilty. Why? You sat prior to sitting in meditation, you observe the precepts, and that would give you a temporary relief from possible guilt. And then the second step. When it comes to the second stage, there are 2 levels of meditation: samatha, calm, and vipassana. And then these terms are very corrupt, even in Buddhist societies. In America, also, some people only go for vipassana meditation. And then after a 12, 15-day retreat, they come back and say, well, I couldn't focus on my breath. Meaning, they had prematurely tried to do vipassana. First, they need to calm themselves down. First, you need to achieve some level of calm. Only then can you start analyzing your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations, your memories, and you can start letting go of them and start dissolving them. So that is the second. So that is called calm and vipassana. And then the purpose of samatha, and then you have to go to vipassana on a higher level. You need to at least to temporarily suppress what is called the 5 negative factors, or pancha nivarana. The pancha nivarana is still on the first page. You are on the first page of the handout. So, they are the 5 negative factors, so the pancha nivarana. They block. These 5 negative factors can very easily block you, very easily distract you from your spiritual progress. First one is sensual desire, kama chanda. And some people have told me that they don't have any sexual feelings at all. But when they are in higher, when their mind is set in higher vipassana, and they get what is called the psychic erection. You don't get erection physically. You get what is called the psychic erection. On the psychic level, your sexual energy is aroused. But if you touch your body parts, the corresponding body parts involved in sexual feelings, you don't feel that. There's no such physical erection. But it happens on the psychic level. Because kama chanda, sensual desire, is such. That's how kama chanda or sensual desire pops up even on the vipassana level. So you need to notice that. Lots of people have told me about their experience of psychic erection. Not physical erection, bodily, not psychic, physical erection. It has nothing to do with the physical body getting charged with raga or sexual energy. It is simply the fact that you feel your body is going through sexual erection, but actually it's not physical. It's simply your kama raga, your kama chanda, means sensual desire, being activated on the psychic level, on the vipassana level. So they are very tricky. Second one is ill will, vyapad. Even on vipassana level, instantaneously, you may find ill will, like you may tend to hate your own body, you hate yourself, you happen to hate your surroundings because the surroundings are noisy, or maybe you get angry with your teacher because the teacher gave you too much guidance, also of a sort, or probably you don't feel like doing it right, so that you feel like directing your anger, ill will at no one else, but there is ill will anyway. So that is the second one. And third one is thina mitta, sloth and torpor, meaning you feel physically and physically and mentally tired and discouraged. You feel physically and mentally discouraged and tired. That is called sloth and torpor. They are always taken together. So today for this session, please study this very well. Don't rush to ask questions today. I would like to tell you, take as much time you need as you need to study this handout, because we need, and then later in the future session meeting, there will be different topics that would correspond to this mainstream theme or topic on the 7 stages of purification. And don't miss out future sessions, because this is going to be continuous. And then restlessness and remorse, uddhacca kukkhucca, that is the 4th negative mental factor. You feel restless and at the same time remorse, uddhacca and kukkhucca, and you feel like giving up. You easily lose interest, and that is restlessness and remorse. You become restless because you most meditated want to achieve some jhana, some psychic energy prematurely. If your purpose is to achieve psychic energy, jhana, and you are at the wrong place. You are not doing Buddhist practice right, the right way. Don't expect jhana or psychic energy to arise in your mind. Simply stick your focus and do meditation. And the 5th negative factor is skeptical doubt, vicikiccha. And later on we go through them later on. So that is the second one, chitta visuddhi. Now it is yes. Let's go to the third. So remember this, right? Now, what is the correlation, interconnection between the first stage and the second stage of the first stage? Once again, I would like to say we are not going to cover the entire topic today, all the 7 stages today. It's impossible. It's humanly impossible to do that. Once again, going back to see the interconnection between the first 2 progressive stages. First, you choose the easiest precept, 1 or 2 easiest precept, and then you try so that you continue until you get motivated and you are happy that you could practice some precepts. And so when you are motivated to continue, and it's the time to start practicing a meditation. But that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that you delay the start of meditation until you are motivated to do precepts. There's no such thing. For example, this moment you observe 1 precept. Of course, you are not first timers. You have tried precepts for the last few years or so, and you can very easily do this. And this could be problematic to a newcomer, to those who are trying to practice Buddhism, Buddhist spirituality for the first time in their life. In such cases, they need personal guidance. I mean, interpersonal guidance or kammattan. But I know all of you, each and every one of you have practiced precepts for a long time, and you are good meditators. But anyway, how to continue is observe a precept, generate some motivation out of that, and then you be happy, and then you sit in meditation and try to achieve some samatha. And then all of a sudden, when you sit in samatha or calm meditation, all of a sudden you feel some emotional or physical pain, and when that pain occurs, think it's a blessing. Look at that, consider it a blessing in disguise, and then look at that pain on samatha level or vipassana level, and then dissolve it by convincing yourself, by convincing yourself that pain is impermanent as well. Unfortunately, most people think that joy is impermanent. They fail to think that pain is impermanent as well. So, and that's the second stage. Third one is ditthi visuddhi. That means, I think, given the time, we will only discuss maybe 3 or 4 stages only today. Now, let's look at the third stage of purification. That is purification of view, ditthi visuddhi. Ditthi means view. So this stage is completed by getting rid of the notion of a permanent soul or Atman. So this stage directly helps break what is called sakkaya ditthi, or the wrong view of self or soul, which is the first of the 10 fetters. Breaking of sakkaya ditthi is the first step towards the first stage of enlightenment, called sotapanna, or stream entering. And that's the sotapanna, and that's another word. I think it came from nowhere, kanka vitarana. It's a typo. I need to delete that as well. I wrote this in a rush this evening. So now ditthi visuddhi is all about clearing your own view. Now, what is meant on this stage, you can progress towards nirvana unless you stop believing in the permanent soul. But actually, when this is where some people get stuck too. Now, some people, some of us grew up believing in a permanent soul, believing in creation. So that sakkaya ditthi, this is the first. I'm not going to touch on the 10 fetters here, even though I just mentioned that sakkaya ditthi, or the wrong view of self or soul, is the first of the 10 fetters. And we talk about 10 fetters. 10 fetters are to be broken. You need to break 10 fetters in different groups. And then unless you break the first 3, you don't achieve the first level of enlightenment, that is called sotapanna, or the stream enterer. And first thing that you need to break is sakkaya ditthi, wrong notion of self. As long as you believe that, okay, I am permanent, even though I die from my physical body, I'm never going to die because my soul is permanent and my Atman is permanent. When you believe that, and then Buddha says that it would be a building block to achieve the first level of enlightenment. Sakkaya ditthi. So sotapanna, and you are familiar with the word sota. Sota is the flood or the stream or the water. Apanna is to enter, meaning stream entering. So that's the first level of enlightenment. And then, so that I'm not going to distract you, confuse you by continuing to discuss the 10 fetters. We have to stop at this point, because probably You will have to go through this handout like maybe at least like 30 over times over the next few months, and then study them again and again and again, because there are the corresponding information that you need to incorporate into the knowledge that you get from today's discussion. And number 4 is, and we will only cover number 4 today, only 1, 2, 3, 4, so that we can continue this dialogue so next Friday as well. Now, number 4 is Kanka Vitarana Visuddhi, meaning purification by overcoming doubt. Now, so Buddha, in this, according to Ratavinita Sutta, and then so this stage is completed by overcoming 16 doubts. 16 doubts in relation to our past, our future, and our present. And so the 16 doubts are listed here. Number 1, was I in the past? Was I not in the past? This is all about our past existence. Did I exist before coming to this life? Or did I not exist before coming to this life? Or if that what is implied, what implies here is whether the kind of life form, the life that I am living now, is the first of my existence, or did I exist before this lifetime? That is what the first 2 questions imply. Was I in the past? Was I not in the past? And number 3, what was I in the past? What was my lifetime? Sometimes in the spiritual practice, you are curious of what you were, what sort of life, whether you were in heaven, human life, animal form, where were you in, and you are interested in your past life. And that's what the third question, the third doubt implies. What was I in the past? Number 3. And number 4, how was I in the past? How did I exist in the past? And whether I was happy or sad, whether I have brought sadness into this life, joy into this life. Of course, and in one of our previous sessions, you learn that we gather memory, karma, and habits, and we carry them forward to next life. And that's how we ended up in this life too. We ended up in this life with lots of unverified, unknown, complex karma, memories, and habits. But that's a different teaching. But again, when it comes to practice of this, you are not supposed to worry about your past life. That's the whole point here. And how was I? And then number 5, having been what? What was I in the past? So that is all about the process. How did I start my life? How long I was happy or sad? What happened to me then? Towards my from my childhood through my youth, through my middle age, if I continue to live into old age, what happened to me? And so on. You try to break it your past life into different episodes and try to understand and read what you were there. That's number 5. Number 6 is, shall I be in the future? Now this is about the future. Am I going to get reborn in the future? And that's another doubt. Shall I not be in the future? Or maybe am I not going to get reborn in the future? And so these are the building blocks actually. And so oftentimes people ask what sort of life they will get after this lifetime. And following the Buddha's advice, whenever they ask me, I would like to say, Buddhism is not for afterlife. Even though in Buddhist tradition, some people are more concerned with what their next life. And Buddha clearly says throughout his teachings that whosoever is happy in this lifetime would be happy hereafter. Whosoever is sad in this lifetime would continue that habit of being sad to next life, and they would continue with that habit. So we need to focus on our present, even though past life is a reality, future existence is a reality, and then so those are realities. But you are not supposed to apply all those teachings into this when you practice in spiritual practice. Karma is true, but don't surrender to your karma. Don't let the karma block you by unnecessarily discouraging yourself, putting the blame on karma and saying, okay, it's my karma that I can't become a stream enterer. And then if you do that, and Buddha calls, according to the Alagatupama Sutra, according to the discourse on the snake catching, when you apply the Buddha's teachings at the wrong place, and then you are like an amateur snake charmer, and you don't have much experience in snake catching. So you make a living as a snake charmer, so that, and then what you do is, when you see a snake and you approach it, and then because this is the first time you are going to catch a snake, poisonous snake like a cobra, usually cobra. It is very common in Indian subcontinent or even in Southeast Asia, in Africa also. And people make a living out of snake charming. And then they say, you see a snake, a cobra, and you approach it, and because you are motivated to catch a snake, just as the snake is going to be the source of your income. And then you go, as you approach it, and you catch the snake by the middle of his body. What happens then? It will turn back and bite you. It would be fatal, or you may even die from snake bite. Whereas if you are an experienced snake catcher, you are not an amateur, you are not a first newcomer to the profession, and you approach, then you have a stick and you press it around on its neck, and then you approach it, make sure that it can turn back and bite you, and then you catch it. And then you go with the rest of the process of it. So, and then when you apply Buddha's teachings without guidance of a teacher or an instructor or a kalyana mitta or a trustworthy friend or a friend whose knowledge is higher, instead of progressing along the spiritual path, you may end up in a spiritual disaster. So what I said that again is that now when it comes to these 16 doubts, once again, if I go through, was I in the past? Was I not in the past? What was I in the past? What was I in the past? How was I in the past? Having been what was I in the past? Shall I be in the future? Shall I not be in the future? What shall be I in the future? And then you are again curious as to how you will come back to samsara. How shall I be in the future? Having been what? What shall I be in the future? Just a typo there. I will fix it. I have typed as what shall I be in the future? No, it has to be what shall I be in the future. Am I? Am I means, am I truly existent? This is about the present. Am I not? Because sometimes some people ask me, recently also, someone from Southeast, Far East Asia called me and say, well, and these Buddhist people say that there is no self. Does that mean that I am not existing, I am not living? I say, no, honey, that's not the case. You do live. You feel yourself, right? You have a life. Yes, I do. Otherwise, and she said, I'm scared that I'm not existing. It took me like, I told her, maybe it will take me like at least 6 months to convince her. She's really utterly confused because she had read too many books on Buddhism, on impermanence and no self and Zen. So that I need to help her correct herself. because she believed she called me and asked whether she is not living, she's not existing. So that's how. Never to rush simply because you are motivated to read Buddhism books and read it, acquire knowledge, but don't try to apply the knowledge because otherwise you would be like an amateur uh, snake charmer, snake catcher, getting bitten by a cobra, thereby putting your life in danger. And then, how am I? Where has this being come from? Where have I come from? Am I really something that did exist before coming to this life? Where will this being go? Where am I going to go after this, after my death? So these are the 16 philosophical questions. By the time Buddha appeared in the world in the 6th century BCE, there were 62 religious beliefs, excluding the Buddha's view. And all those 16 religious views were based on these 16 doubts. These are universal doubts that you come across in religion, in metaphysics, in religion. In order to avoid this, how to practice this purification by overcoming doubt? Well, you disregard them and you only do one thing. What is that? Here, focus must be on seeing existence as a stream or flow. This stage is completed by seeing all mental and material phenomena in light of knowledge in Tilakkana, or the 3 marks of existence. Such seeing is not theoretical, but is done in vipassana meditation. As a practitioner sits in vipassana, she sees all phenomena in light of Tilakkana, meaning, because I really need to fix certain terms here. There are lots of typos here. Now, what is on this stage of purification of overcoming doubt? You don't waste time trying to verify your past life, trying to see where you're going to go afterwards, after death, about your afterlife existence, and then you stop confusing yourself in believing if you are not existence, if your life has no value whatsoever. Your life does have a value. It's a gift. And what is required is, instead of focusing on the past and the future, and also believing in life as not something fixated at one point, and you just look at life as a flow, like a stream, right? This moment you are something, next moment you are something else emotionally, in terms of feelings and sensations, in terms of thought patterns. You are something at this point, at this moment, and you will be something else the next moment. And parallel to that emotional, emotional dynamics, you also go through change in your physical body. As you become something else in each feeling, each thought, each sensation, your body goes through aging simultaneously. And so that's what happened. So you look at your entire entire existence you're living, in terms of a whole incessant flow of feelings, emotion, sensation, and aging. So that's it. I'm not going to continue. At this point, I stop. And I welcome questions now. See, it's really tiring for you to listen to such an advanced topic. So that I will stop at this point. So we only covered 4 stages of purification. Now, now I welcome questions. And those who want to ask questions, please, only those wanting to ask questions, please unmute yourself and ask. If no questions, we can conclude today's session. Because some people suggested that you need this topic actually. I know some of you may find it difficult to digest, but at least think about the first two levels, first two stages. Don't think about beyond the second stage of purification. Take as much time as you need to practice the first two, Sila Visuddhi and Chitta Visuddhi, purification of conduct and purification of mind. Choose your favorite precept, one or two precepts, practice them on daily basis, and then write and then meditate as well. For example, let's say you observe how to say, okay, I don't do gossiping. If I gossip, I may happen to tell lies, or I may end up offending someone. Okay, then you observe that precept, no gossiping. Of course, gossiping is not part of the 5 precepts. It's part of the how to say 9 lifetime precepts. I abstain from doing idle speech like gossiping. And then let's say people love to gossip. This is one example. So that, okay, and then you wake up tomorrow morning, and part of your daily habit is that you gossip a lot. Whereas tomorrow morning, as you wake up, and you make a firm determination not to gossip, and then so that you are very mindful of not gossiping, and then you not finding fault with others, not offending others, not just doing idle speech, and instead you think something effective. You do something, you pay attention to your job or your profession, or reading something if you have free time, and then you do that during the first few hours of the day, and then toward the evening or the afternoon, and then you are now happy that you observed that precept successfully, and then sit in meditation, motivate yourself by telling yourself, well, usually I gossip a lot, I didn't do that today, and I'm happy. And with that happiness, use that happiness to motivate yourself for meditation. And you won't trust yourself. It would be that, and your meditation will surprise you because of that motivation out of the successful observance of that precept of no gossiping. And you are relaxed and you meditate, you are not guilty. And so that you can achieve some higher level of calm, samatha. And you can even go to vipassana right away. Now that is how you practice these 7 stages of purification. But what I said at the beginning, that it would take a whole lifetime to complete these 7 means, is that if you skip certain stages and go to the next one, no, it doesn't. It's never going to work that way. You need to practice them in sequence, ascending order. Start with the first one and go to the second one. You can practice the first and two almost simultaneously. You can practice both. You can try both within one day. Okay. That being said, looks like no questions. Okay, then let's practice 5 minutes guided meditation. In case there are no questions. Take a deep breath. Bring your attention to the nostrils. See the distinction between the two breaths, incoming, outgoing. Breathe in, breathe out. Include your entire physical body in your mindful breath. Send loving, friendly thoughts towards your mind and your physical body. Due to highly stressful lifestyle, most people find fair to pay proper attention to their mind and physical body. As you are hungry, you grab some food and you feed your physical body just to get some energy. And then you have no time to clear your mind of improper or negative thoughts or feelings. As a result, you neglect your mind as well. At this point, you need to, as you continue with your mindful breath, incorporate a sense of self-metta and maintain a sense of self-metta in the back of your mind. You know what self-metta is. You don't do metta or radiate loving kindness towards others. You simply do that to yourself, thereby being able to regain your emotional strength. May I be well. May I be happy. May I stop being sad. May I stop complaining against myself and others. May I stop draining other people's energy. May I be more silent than speaking. May I be more silent than expressive. I need to be silent. In silence, I need to pay attention to my mind and my body. That's called self-metta, loving yourself unconditionally. When you fail to love yourself unconditionally, you happen to drain other people's energy as well. People have their own problems to deal with. Even though there are people whom you say are able to come to your rescue whenever you need help, but never to be codependent on others, because they have to deal with their own problems. Most people are easygoing, and then they don't like to be self-reliant. They don't have to be self-confident. Instead, they easily depend on others. The more you do, the more you are codependent, you further engulf yourself in fear and insecurity. May I be well. May I take care of myself happily. Breathing in, breathing out, mindfully, following the breath mindfully. At the same time, I'm determined to take care of myself happily. May I be well. May I be happy. Sharing of merit, first with all devas, all sentient beings in this world, terrestrial or celestial, or may all beings be able to share our merits, spiritual energy or vibrations. Akasattha Jubummatta Devanaga Maitika Punyantang Anumoditva Tirandakkantu Lokasasanang Akasattha Jubummatta Devanaga Maitika Punyantang Anumoditva Tirandakkantu Desanang Akasattha Jubummatta Devanaga Maitika Punyantang anumoditva chiranrakkantu tvang sada mankaranti. Sharing of merit with our departed ones, I would like to announce at this point that a few days ago, our spiritual friend John Geddes' mother passed away, like 2 days ago. And then once again, our deepest sympathies, our deepest condolences to you, John and Darcy, for the demise of your mother-in-law, the late Mrs. Rosemary Geddes. May the late Mrs. Rosemary Geddes, as well as all your departed friends and relatives, share the spiritual vibrations, karmic vibrations that we have generated today. By sharing the merit, may they be able to remain on the safe side of the samsara until their salvation of nirvana. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Blessings to you all. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. And may you be able to protect yourself from four kinds of negative energy: planetary, earthly, karmic, and social. May you be well, happy, and peaceful. Wish you all the best with your spiritual practice. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkantu sabba devata Sabba dhammanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. Thank you. I'll see you, some of you, on Sunday or during our Sinhalese talk. Yeah, thank you.
Ante, just a reminder, you are going to email this document.
Yeah, I have to log in back to the computer and I have to fix certain typos. Yeah, and then I will fix